Going to the internet.
Internet.
Internet's live.
I've noticed that my channel cuts off like the first 7 seconds of us being live.
Oh,
Is
so
what
this
I've
doesn't even
noticed.
matter.
Yeah, no, well, because like remember last time I was singing it's not Can't Turn You Loose. I was singing and now we're gonna just do the same thing as last week. We're gonna sing a song and we're gonna try and remember.
Don't stop me now.
That's what it was. But whatever song we were singing, I sang the whole song, and then we tried to figure out what it was, but it came through at the end of my song just as I was asking, did you ever play this in band? Which is silly. I'm setting up the tags over here. Web development, software development, just all the tags about anything related to computers. Like, and also like for some reason Twitch uses like very specific tags, and sometimes like this isn't really what I'm doing.
Like what?
I don't know. Like for instance, software development. Like there's no like just programming. Oh, there it is. Found it. There it is. Never mind. Never mind.
Totally redeemed yourself, Twitch.
Thanks, Twitch. We actually like you now. All right, and I'm gonna. Oh, you went live 1 second ago, Brandon. I don't know if you know this. Twitch let me know. There we go.
It should be the same stream.
What? Crazy. How does that work?
Well, I think I have 2 followers, subscribers. Forget what Twitch calls them.
Followers.
And yeah, we wanted to make sure that they knew that I was here on Metzing Around. So
come on through, people.
Come join us. Come hang out with us.
Let me close Visual Studio Code. Was working on Shania Bot this morning. That was nice. Oh, man. Shania Bot we've got her working. And now we just need to find a place to host her. And hosting a Twitter bot on Azure is kind of hard. We're having a hard time with that. So we're going to look at a couple of other options, too. Chloe had mentioned Heroku, which is the thing I get to learn about soon.
Yep, that's another good one.
I suggested making a whole virtual machine just to host Shania Bot.
That would be the most efficient route.
I feel like that's just the best way.
Probably need at least 64 gigs of RAM.
That's what I was going to say, right? Maybe several virtual machines running on an open network. I think she needs a lot of power, Shania Bot. She's a strong bot. She's a strong-willed bot who deserves the very best.
That's right.
I like that I can just drop... yeah.
I just pictured Shania Bot like becoming sentient and like bursting out of the computer with like arms and legs and like bulging muscles from her power.
Yep. I absolutely, that would absolutely be my fault too. Like, oh god, did I close my no, I didn't close my server, did I? I closed my local server. Oh well.
We're off to a great start.
Yeah, listen, I know exactly what I'm doing, so don't worry about
it. Speaking of which, I was going to see, PJ, if you wanted to give folks the rundown of what we did last week, because we're picking up where we left off.
Well,
and we can kind of help each other fill in the blanks.
Well, last week, the last thing we did was break my code. By messing with a constructor. But what we got working last week, what we did well last week, was we took the database and we created a base database class, and I'm going to share my screen in 1 second once Visual Studio comes up. And now we are using inheritance, right? To say, hey, every other class that we've got the poets, authors, we're calling it, the authors class. That is a table that we've got. And we've got the poems database class. And now both of those are inheriting from the base database class. So we're using some more complicated stuff, as it were. And now today we actually need to create that in the database. We've got it in the code, but it is not. There's not a second table on the database yet. And the thing we did that broke it was we looked at our constructor that we had created, and we were like, "Oh, we don't need this anymore." And apparently, we kind of did, or we shouldn't have gotten rid of it without replacing it with something. And things went a little haywire. My brain sort of stopped being able to follow at the end. It was more Brandon being like, "Hey, we just did a lot, and this isn't gonna work. So let's push it to next week."
Yeah, so here we can share a link with the folks if you want to follow along in our struggles today.
Yeah.
This is a link to where we'll be hanging out in the docks, and wow, there's probably should have used the link shortener. That's an ugly looking link.
It's for clicking, not for looking.
But quickly type that into your browser. Very, very easy to read. But or just Google Entity Framework Core relationships or table mappings, because I'll tell you what, here, let me bring up, or can I bring up my screen?
I'll stop sharing mine, and then we'll go to your screen. I think that's a fine use of time.
So I'm going to copy paste that beautiful link. Or can I even copy paste it? Dang it.
I believe in you.
Whew. Struggling this morning. And let's see. Now I can share that link with... There we go. Ah, look at that.
Did you make it pretty? Hey. Nice.
Bigger? Smaller?
Bigger?
There we go. Bueller. So...
Bueller.
Yeah, the challenge now is we went from a very simple database and only had one table in it. We were storing poems so that we could then display the poems on the website. But after implementing the feature where anybody can add a poem, so anybody can go to the website, submit their favorite poems, and then PJ could review it and then flip a bit to essentially turn it on and allow it to appear on the website, we realized that we had hard-coded a bunch of things about the authors. And so for PJ to accept your submission, then he would have to write a bunch of HTML that adds the author. He would have to go and find information about the author, like their bio or a picture. And then, like an hour later, he's updated the HTML. He's published the new code to the production server right on the website. And we finally added your submission. But what we figured out was if we just had another table in the database that kept track of the authors, then we could essentially automate all this. So we could just pull from this table, get every author, and then every author has their list of poems that they wrote. And so where we broke last week was when we started doing these relationship mappings in Entity Framework. And so we're going to kind of follow some recommendations here on the Microsoft Docs to give these two tables in their database some sort of relationship. So Entity Framework has tools that I haven't used before, 'cause I'm kind of new to Entity Framework Core myself. But basically what we can do, we can tell Entity Framework Core that, actually, here's the example that they give in the docs. So like there is a blog, and a blog has a list of posts. So actually kind of similar to what we're going to be doing. We're going to have an author, and an author is going to have a list of poems. And then in the post class, so this will be our poem class, we'll need to add another value referencing back to, let's see, that's post ID, blog.
This blog ID is the same in both of them, right?
Yeah, blog IDs. Exactly. Thank you. I was like, I swear I looked at this earlier and it made sense. So yeah, so blog ID, this is the same value. And the difference being in our tables, each blog will have a unique ID for itself. And then we can map every post back to a specific blog. So in our case, we're going to map poems to an author, and by adding that author's ID. And so it's basically the software way of saying, like, Ocean Vuong wrote this poem, but computers don't really care about human names. They just know of a ID number in a table or in a row. Yeah. And so this is kind of like computer speak for this is the author Ocean Vuong. And so we're going to give it a shot. We're probably going to break some things today. That's okay. And so we'll add some things to our poem class. I think we'll have to add the list of poems to our author class. I forget if we added that already. But then, there we go. And I don't know if we have to do both. I think we have. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to take some steps and see what happens.
I'm very excited.
But yeah, terrified. So this DB context class for Entity Framework also has this manual override. So you can tell it like this to say that post has one relationship to blog, and blog has many relationships to post. So in the computer science world, these are called one-to-one and one-to-many relationships. And so it kind of helps Entity Framework know how to map all this stuff under the hood for us. But do we have to do this? I don't know. Because when I look at this, the classes are different. So like this doesn't have, it's missing the blog ID. Yeah. So what I wonder, I'm thinking happens.
Yeah. You say first because you're smarter.
I think Entity Framework handles a lot of this for us. This is where I always get a little nervous because things are now like out of my control. There's magic happening under the hood, and we kind of just have to like guess and hope we get the magic spell right for it to work properly. Yep. So there'll be some guessing and checking, but I think the fact that we have this blog type and that blog type is also in the database, Entity Framework can just figure this stuff out. And so it looks like this is the recommended way, because the other way, where you do that manual mapping, it says, well, what that's called is using no foreign key. A foreign key is just a table referring to a different table's primary key, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like,
I think I get it.
So like on blog ID is its primary key. No two blogs will have the same blog ID. That's what a primary key means, is this will always be unique to this row in the table. And so I think Entity Framework will also see blog, and blog ID and just handle that mapping for us.
It seems like it should, right? Like it's because down in the manual, it doesn't have it. So like, you know.
Right. And the reason I say we're going to start with the first way is because if we don't include that blog ID, aka that foreign key, aka that table's reference to another table's primary key, the docs will say, whoop, try to zoom in. There we go. So if we don't do a foreign key, the docs will say it is recommended to have a foreign key. But then they go on to say, but if for some reason you can't, then here's how you do it. So we're going to try and do it the right way first. What'll be interesting, though, is we struggled previously with database migrations. And so I'm confident we can get...
Ago? It was a lifetime ago, it seems.
Feels like just yesterday.
It feels like very recently that we really messed it all
up. So, yeah, what I'm confident we can get this working in code. And one way to do it is just to to literally blow up our local database. So just pretend like it doesn't exist, delete it, let Entity Framework recreate it.
Yeah, totally.
Right, but that doesn't work for production. I mean, I guess in theory, yeah, we could blow up that database and then reinitialize it, reseed it with all the data.
It does feel strange to be like, so for this to work, you have to delete your current database, and then Entity Framework will just make you a new, better one.
And this is where my previous experience with Entity Framework, not Entity Framework Core, Entity Framework came before Entity Framework Core, kind of kills me because, yeah, Entity Framework just had, and it wasn't super easy or intuitive to use, and I understand why they got rid of it, but yeah, Entity Framework would just kind of like let you auto migrate. So like if I made some changes in the code and it detected, say, a new column in the database, that column would just appear next time I ran the code. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
we'll step through it. It's gonna be a lot of surprises.
many much surprises.
So yeah, man, I'll let you kick things off with the code. Go ahead and share your screen once you got it ready. But I am a little nervous.
Aren't we all? All right.
Whoop, there it is.
So, Lord, maybe I can get rid of a few things. So we're gonna need the base database. Let's see. We're not gonna really need. Actually, we're gonna need this because this is where we had this. And we are, I want to make sure we're working in the right branch here. Yeah, add author database table. That's the branch we're in, and that's the one we want to be in. And this is the database model. All right. What do we do first?
What do we do?
So many errors.
I know, right? Let's ignore all the errors.
Yeah.
And let's focus on our models first. So let's make sure we have that relationship that we were just talking about built into the models. And so every poem should have an author. So let's check out the poem model. And I think we added the author, and I think this is where we actually paused because that's where all these red squiggles came up. And so
we are...
Yeah, so scroll down and show off the properties in here. So, okay, we did add author, but we did not add author ID. And so we'll definitely need to add that, at least according to the docs. And so that'll be a GUID.
And we can't just use the GUID ID as the author ID, right? It can't be your key value.
Right, so the ID here is the primary key for the poem. So when we add this poem to the table in the database, Entity Framework gives it a unique ID value. Just like when we add an author to the authors table in the database, Entity Framework gives the author a unique ID. So what we're referencing here is the author's ID. And I just noticed PJ is frozen for me. I wonder if that's me or
no,
him.
I hope not.
Oh, there he is.
Was I just being very still?
Yeah, well, and the typing stopped too. So, he is very still again. Giving the behind the scenes look.
Oh, well,
what's going on?
Come on, internet. Internet, I believe in you. You can do it. 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 You can do it.
Take a chance on
me, internet. Find me, internet. Find me. Did it find me? Hey, can you see me? Hold on. I'm going to look at my video.
I think you're back. Yeah. I see you.
Am I back? Am I pretty?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you the whole time.
Oh, yeah. You look great.
Very good. Finally. Thank you. What a nice compliment. Okay. So here I've got author ID. And then Now what?
And yeah, so what I'm assuming is Entity Framework's going to just map those back to the author. And so let's check the author class, and let's make sure we have a list of poems. Oh, we do. Oh, good for us. All right,
and this is where we created it too. Like, we're making a new list here.
Yeah, I mean, really, what that's doing is just getting rid of, because we enabled nullability, and so we didn't want the list of poems to ever be null. At worst, it should just be empty, and that's what this does for us. So, okay, so it looks like our models are actually pretty good. And the next thing I guess we have to do is handle all those red squiggles.
All right. Okay.
So
a lot of those red squiggles.
Yeah, the red squiggles are happening because Poem previously had a property called author. And we just hard coded that as a string. But now we want to reference an actual author. So what we want to do here, well, do we do this now? I'll tell you what,
well,
let's keep it.
To be fair, your idea and the thing we're aiming to get to is literally deleting lines 31 through 150. Like,
that's what I was just thinking to myself. Do we go ahead and delete this now before playing with the database? I think so. We totally could, but we don't know if this database is gonna, or Entity Framework stuff is gonna work, right? Like,
yeah,
that's what we were just talking about. Is like, do we have to do migrations? Like, if I just run this code, will it run? And so I think for now,
what if we
keep all this code, because we can say, instead of x.author is, because author again used to be a string property, we could just say x.author dot, was it full name or name?
Looks like name.
Yeah. And then that'll work, because essentially we just shifted name from being a string inside of Poem to now name is a string inside author. So I think for now, like, this isn't the code I would ship to production, but while we're playing around with database stuff, let's leave the database stuff as our current variable, right? Like, we know we've messed with the database. What I would hate is maybe the database stuff was working, but we borked this rewrite. And so the web page isn't appearing. We're getting weird errors. We think it's the database is the problem. But really it was just the website all along. So
this is the last problem. I went through and fixed all that. It's all author.name now. Yeah. But here in Poem, we run into this.
And yeah, so yeah, we ended the last show with deleting this constructor. That's what you're talking about that gave us more red squiggles. And I'm thinking, yeah, I think we do still need to do that, because again, just trying to make the least amount of changes possible. But you can see what's gonna happen. Like, you see in between lines 16 and 17, it says 15 references.
Yep.
Meaning there's 15 areas in the code that use this constructor.
Yeah.
That's what we blew up last week. And kind of realized, we're like, oh, this is going to take a couple hours to fix this. So see you next week, cliffhanger. That's right. But yeah, let's go ahead and maybe, just delete it. I was going to say comment it out.
But like, if we're commenting it out, like, honestly, like, what's the big deal? All right.
And so yeah, what's funny is those 15 references now just jumped up to the other constructor. The other constructor was being unused, but now it's being used.
Yeah.
But what's ironic is it's just an empty constructor. We don't really need it.
Right.
And that's what that green squiggle is. It's saying, like,
you're never really using this.
Oh, wait, no, the green squiggle is nullability. Let's ignore that for now.
Okay. All right.
So, does it build if you right-click build. I don't want to necessarily launch the website yet, but I just want to make sure we got rid of the red squiggles.
Build. Failed. It didn't work.
All right.
Tell me why. Poem does not contain a constructor that takes the... Yeah, so there's those times that we did it.
And that's in... Oh, because we have that poem constant. So, yeah, let's just comment out that whole poem constants class. Because this is where we were... What we were using to seed the database. So, yeah, you could do, like, Control-A, select all. And then you can do Control-KC to comment.
Oh, snap.
Boom.
That's a good trick. Okay. So now that whole...
Yeah, so it's like this code doesn't exist.
What were we using this for now that we had a database?
So this is what we used to seed it. This was the default data.
Okay.
So for what we're testing right now, this data already exists in the database, and so we shouldn't need it. If we have to blow up the database, then we'll need it back, which is why we're commenting it, not deleting it. But
we're referencing constants, in a few places.
Yeah, so jump straight to the base database.
Here. Okay.
Oh, is it just that one line? Oh, it's just the using statement.
Yeah, it's just a using statement. And I can do that. And I have a vague memory.
Just delete that using statement.
I feel like this is exactly what we did at the end of the last video.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it's a pet peeve of mine when people comment out using statements because...
A pet peeve, you say?
Yeah, like... it's not like a using statement is code you wrote that you're going to forget about. Like,
right.
Like, oh, I spent so many hours writing this code. That's why I just commented it, because I might need it in the next hour. Using statements, just you can auto add them. You can just right click and say import using. It's
okay. All right. So I deleted them instead
just
of commenting out now.
Oh, okay. Whipch is back. What's going on, Whipch?
That's right. Cool. I'm digging that octopus. Apparently, there's a whole world of Twitch emojis that are like specific to certain streamers that people love, and like, yeah. And I don't know anything about it. Here we're using the constructor again.
Add to the database. Yep. So yeah, this is for the page. Like, this is the logic that happens when the user clicks submit after they've added a new poem to the website, or technically they're adding it to the database via our website. But let's just comment out this one line, because
just the try or the await.
Yeah, just the await. So what we just did, we just broke that page at our website. But again, we're not focused on that right now. So
okay.
As long as we kind of keep that front of mind, that we're gonna have to come back and clean this up, then we'll be good. And actually, you know what? Now that I say that, a better way to do this, let's uncomment this line of code.
Okay.
We'll need to leave it commented because we don't have this constructor anymore.
Right.
But let's do a new line below it, and let's throw an error. So we can say throw new exception. And then in the constructor of an exception, we can pass in a message. So this will be a message to future selves. And we can say...
fix this,
or what do you
dingus.
Like, code path temporarily broken. Don't forget to fix this. I don't know. Something like that. So, like...
There we go.
So yeah, because what would happen is somebody would go to the website and they would click the button to submit a poem, and if we didn't have this new line of this exception being thrown, the next line would just run. So nothing would happen. The poem would not be inserted into the database, but then we would say, we did it, submission accepted. And so the user thinks everything's fine, whereas now when the user clicks the button, like the whole website's going to blow up. And so hopefully we remember to fix this, but if not, we're not lying to our users. The user can say, hey, the app's crashing when I do this, and we can go, oh shoot, we pushed that to production.
I forgot. And I think the build will work now. Yeah, succeeded. Build succeeds.
All right. So I think this is where we just run it and see what happens.
Okay.
Like this is where Entity Framework's going to do its Entity Framework stuff.
What are we looking for it to have? Are we looking for a new table to be created at the end of this? Or are we just looking for that?
Good question. What is our success criteria?
Yeah, that's important to know.
So yeah, showing off the current database, we can see we just have the one table called poems. Like PJ, if you collapse poems, we'll see that there's no other tables.
Yep.
So if this works, and fingers crossed that it just works, then we'll see another table added called authors. And the other thing we'll see is in poems, you'll notice we don't have a property. Well, it's called a property in C#, but now that we're in the table, this is called a column. We don't have a column called author ID.
Right.
We do have an existing column called author. That scares me a little bit. I don't know how. I think that's going to collide.
Is it?
And yeah, because now we have a property. We still have a property called author in our poem model, but instead of being a string, that property author is an object, and technically it's another table. So that could be something that breaks on us.
I want to check. Is that like we've got author ID here, right? We want to see that added. But then this, how is our property here, author, how is that this table? How do we know that that's going to happen?
It's a good question. And honestly, this is where I'm getting like the edges of what I can predict just because I don't have the experience.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, let's just run it and see if it works.
All right, Entity Framework.
And
core.
If it doesn't, the good news is if this doesn't work, we made a new branch for this. So we're not working on the master branch. Yeah. We have a working master branch.
Yeah.
And so if we just blow everything up, we can always jump back to master, run that code. It'll recreate the database that already existed.
Yep.
And then we're back to where we should be. So we can, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if this database blows up, we can fix it. We can get it back.
I feel like we should get as many people in here as possible to see if this is going to explode. Watch us fail. My computer's going to melt. All the bad things will happen. Just tell me when to hit play. Got me nervous.
Just do it. Just do it.
Running. I feel like a message is going to come up and be like, you idiot. All right. Okay. Oh,
what happened?
Return connection data where predicate to list. MySQL unknown column P author ID in field list. So it seems like it's trying to go to a column that it didn't create the column.
Yeah. So actually, let's look at the database. Let's jump back to MySQL because something happened, but did anything happen in the database? I don't know.
Is there like a refresh?
Feels like there should be a refresh button. In that navigator tab, there's like a little. It looks like two arrows, almost like the recycling sign.
Oh, and here. Reconnect.
Go, move your mouse to your left, and then now down. Too far left.
So down. Here.
That
refresh the schema.
I think that's. Yeah, click that button. Okay. So we don't see a new table.
Okay.
And we don't see a new column.
Okay.
So nothing happened.
Which is not the worst thing that could have happened. So that's good.
Yeah, that's fair. So yeah, Entity Framework didn't create the tables for us. And that's a bummer. Because
we literally had everything banking on that.
So we have two problems now, right? We have to figure out how to migrate the database, but at the same time, we have no idea if the code we wrote works. And this is where I want to make sure the code works first.
Is it possible to do something silly like throw in like a bool that checks and return the bool somehow?
Well, what I was thinking is we pretend like we don't have a database. So obviously we could just delete this database, and then when Entity Framework would go to look for it, like we have code. If you scroll down to the bottom of this class, there's that code that says like create, ensure created. Mm-hmm. So what I was hoping was database ensure created would not just ensure the database was created, it would also make sure that the tables were created, and it would make sure that the tables were complete because we needed more stuff added to the tables. It looks like database created just checks to make sure the database is there. It's almost like, does this Excel file exist?
Oh, Jesus.
And it goes, oh yeah, the Excel file exists. Instead of, what I was hoping it would do is be like, does this Excel file exist with these two tabs? And are the columns complete?
Yeah.
So, what I would prefer to do is blow up our local database.
Like literally
because I know we can get it back. And, well, maybe let me rephrase that. What I would prefer to do is point Entity Framework to a different database.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if there's a way in the SQL workbench to just create a new database.
There's let me see. Just like,
or wait, how are we connecting to this?
It's
let's work backwards a little bit.
Okay.
In the code right here.
Yeah.
In that on configuring override, we're passing in the database connection string. Mm-hmm. And that
we hard coded it. We hard coded it. Remember?
Well, let's look. Let's walk through the code. So, right click on connection string and say go to definition. Okay, and then click on that get connection string method. I'm sorry, go to definition. And we have some code here. So yeah, it looks like we're passing in this environment variable, my connection string underscore local DB. So so we must have that configured here in Visual Studio.
Yeah, we do. I remember it took us a while to get that going. We have it as a environment variable that we had to like pass.
Yeah, because we're like, how do we add environment variables?
Yeah.
So I remember if you right click on the project, the Your New Favorite Poem project, we can go to the properties and look at the environment variables.
And is this a good idea for me to do live on stream?
Yeah, because it's just your local database.
Okay. So that's I need to properties
all the way at the bottom. Yeah. Good question though. So database equals local DB. Ooh, okay. This is probably what we can do, because what I just noticed is if you pull up, can you pull up Entity Framework, the MySQL GUI side by side? Yeah, just push that to the right. Cool. So see the name. Don't do it like that. I hate that Windows makes you like. It's like, oh, you want to look at something next to something. It's like, obviously you want them to be proportional in their widths. I'm like, no. Just make Visual Studio maximized, and then we'll just overlay MySQL on top of that.
Like this?
Yeah. So look at the name of this database here in MySQL Workbench. Do you see it?
The name of the database in the MySQL, but local instance MySQL L80.
It's in that schema's frame. Your mouse is touching it right now.
Yeah, local DB.
And then jump back to Visual Studio.
Uh-huh.
And what's the name here in Visual Studio?
Local DB.
So what I'm thinking, let's change the name of that database there to something new, something that doesn't exist, so that when Entity Framework goes to see if it's been created, it'll say, oh no, there's nothing here called local DB. So like we can just call it, we call it local DB temp. We could give it like a real name, like Entity Framework relationship mapping test. But anything other than the database that exists, now Entity Framework will look for it, see that it doesn't exist. We said, hey, Entity Framework, ensure the database is created. And then we can see what Entity Framework builds for us. And what I like about this is we can at least confirm our Entity Framework code is good.
Okay.
And so, yeah, let's give this a shot. You'll probably need to save that. I don't know if...
I think it automatically saves.
The project does not. You can see the little star on the tab. That little asterisk means it has not been saved yet. But, oh, you mean like when we compile it and run it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're right. Okay,
right,
so, yeah, let's run it now. And now we should see a new database appear in MySQL Workbench. And the good news is the old database is still there, so we could always go back to and play around with that migration stuff. Look at that.
Oh, so, it's empty.
Yeah, because we're not seeding it anymore. We commented out that code to seed it. Okay. So now if we refresh it, oh, there it is, local DB temp.
Oh, crap. Oh, red, nice.
Yeah, let's see what it built, man.
Oh, snap!
Forward keys. Oh. Yeah, let's maximize it. Let's hang out in MySQL Workbench for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because one thing we can do, remember when we were struggling with migrations last time?
Yeah.
We eventually just like threw our hands up and we're like, you know what? I have no idea how to do this the right way, but I know how to do it in SQL. And we just like manually created that column.
Yeah.
That's always that can still be an option. Because what we can do, we can see now how Entity Framework built this. So that tells us like this is what Entity Framework's expecting when it is going to read from the database. So we can use this knowledge to manually create our update our database. Although we should really figure out how to do migrations, but that'll probably be a future episode.
Eventually, we should learn this skill.
Yeah. Like if somebody asked me in an interview, how do you migrate databases? And I said, oh, you just manually add a column using the SQL commands. Wrong answer. We can't manually add
to a whiteboard interview where I have to do that. And I'm like, oh, you just do it manually.
I mean, if it was actually an interview, I would be honest to say, honestly, I did it in Entity Framework. I've never done it before in Entity Framework Core. It's very different, not super intuitive, and my workaround was to manually do migrations. But anyways, yeah, how can we see? What if you click on columns there? Does that like show us the layout of the columns? I want to see because there's a SQL command that will like display all columns for you. And not necessarily the data in the columns, but it'll like show you like, because remember when we created this, like there's like things like bits and varchars and the column types. So let me look up.
I mean, it tells us down here a little bit.
Oh yeah, it does. Oh, okay. So authors. Okay, I see. So yeah, author's ID is a var binary, so that's what it converted their GUID to. It said that it's the primary key, which is good. That's what we told it to do. Everything else is text except for the booleans, which are bits, and the timestamps for timestamps. Okay. Yep. And now, what about the columns in poems? I feel like
author ID var binary 16.
Interesting that author ID is also bold. Does bold without the underline mean it's a foreign key? You see that too, right? I'm not going crazy.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, it's out like this is.
There's a foreign keys.
Yeah, there's a whole foreign keys tab.
What do we have in the poems table under foreign keys? A foreign key back to author. Amazing. So
author ID goes to ID. Yeah, Entity Framework did it for us.
Yeah, it's literally calling out the target is the author's table, and like you just said, author ID goes to ID. So
wow.
Oh my gosh. So
I don't even know, like, I couldn't point to anywhere in the code that should be happening. That it would know, yeah, of course, like, yeah, this is referencing this. Is it literally just that we had a property named the same as the other database?
I don't know, man. If I had to guess, it's because we listed the author as a model or as an object. Actually, let's pull up the code.
Okay.
We can make some guesses, and looks like we've got 7 people hanging out with us. So
thank goodness.
So, hopefully, somebody out there knows more about this than we do.
Someone tell us how we're doing this, because we don't know.
Here's what I'm guessing.
Give me your guess.
So this author exists here. Pyrock.
Hey,
good to see you again, man. Pyrock saved our bacon a couple weeks ago, so
saved the bacon.
Some might say he's a fan of our show, but I'm a fan of Pyrock.
We're a fan of him.
But yeah. So this author property doesn't exist in the generated table. Like when we looked at poem, there was nothing in there called author.
Oh snap! You're right. And I just want to show everyone that that's true. Does not exist.
Yeah. And so my guess is when Entity Framework sees, well, maybe I should back up a second. When we create tables in a database, they have to be primitive types. They have to be a bit or a Boolean. They have to be a string or a text or a varchar, like SQL calls them. Yeah. And if you think about it, it makes sense because if we put in an object, then that just doesn't exist in SQL. It just doesn't
work, yeah.
Yeah, like SQL's like, I know what a string is, I know what an int is, I know what a bit is.
Get the hell out of here with your objects.
Ooh. Rollers is back.
Ooh,
we got Rollers and Pyrock. We can do anything we want.
That's right. We're going to be very successful today. Look at the code Entity Framework created.
I mean, you're not wrong, but my question is, how do we do that? I've seen other people. I've seen other people do that. People can. It's possible. So, hang on. Let me put a pin in this. Finish the last thought.
Yeah.
Explain what's going on here. What Rollers is suggesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, my guess on what Entity Framework did was it sees that this author object exists in the model, and then instead of creating a table called author, it goes to see, is there another table? I'm sorry, instead of creating a column called author, it says, is there already a table called author? Like, does this author object exist in my database already? And it does.
Yeah.
And so then the next question is like, okay, that one makes sense. Like, that's a mapping back to author. But how does it know that we have this GUID called author ID? My guess is Entity Framework's using just the name. Like, if we misspelled author here, like we just said, like if we dropped the U and just called it Aether ID.
Yeah.
And actually, we could probably try this out. You want to try it out?
Do you want to test that?
Yeah. So let's stop this. Let's go back into the environment variables, change the database name. So it'll create now a new database. So my guess is, yeah, it's literally using the name, like the names have to map author to author. And you have to say that name spelled perfectly ID. Temp database 2.
I want it to be very, very obvious.
Like, delete this database. This is just for testing.
Electric Boogaloo.
So yeah, let's run this and let's see what Entity Framework generates. But in the meantime, yeah, Rollers. Rollers mentioned that Entity Framework actually generates the SQL code. And I've seen people show this off. So they're like, when you have a performance problem with your database, right? Like, it's like, oh, the database works, but it takes a minute to read the values. One way to debug that is to look at the code, look at the SQL code that Entity Framework has generated, because what might look like it makes sense in SQL just might not actually make sense when it gets generated. Let me rephrase that. What looks like it makes sense in C# might actually be nested for loops and stuff like that in SQL when it gets generated. Oh, look at that.
It has both.
So, does it have a foreign key? Oh, it still created the foreign key.
I think it looks like it automatically creates that. It automatically creates, hey, we noticed this is an object. You need an ID for that. And so us creating it in the model, it doesn't like, because it puts it in...
Ooh, can we try one more thing?
Oh, wait, this doesn't have poems? What does this have? So yeah, authors doesn't have anything. It doesn't have author ID. Okay.
Well, so
one more thing.
We don't... Wait, scroll down just a little bit. Show me what's in this poems table now.
Oh. We have author ID, which I think is automatically generated, and author ID.
There it is. Okay. Oh, interesting. So let's try one more experiment. Because then my hunch will be either proven or disproven. Let's now create one more new database, but let's drop the U on line 20. So in public author.
Okay.
Let's make that author. So now we have author and author ID. Because my hunch is it's using just the name of this object and looking for that name plus the 2 letters ID next to it. Which, if I was doing this, I wouldn't do it like this.
Of course not. We have a bunch of not making the references, so we have to fix
put
that
it back
first.
to author.
Yeah.
And then instead of just changing it, right-click, say rename. Because, yeah, you can see we have 10 things referencing this. It has to be author with a capital A, so now rename it again.
Okay. I'm really good at that, rename.
Yeah. So now, let's change the database one last time. Make one more throwaway database.
Ba-da-ba. Alright, we need to change Electric Boogaloo to... let's try again. Save it and run it.
So... So yeah, what I expect here is that the database is all...
Oh, build errors.
Build errors. Where do we have a build error? Double click on that? Oh, it didn't pick up your refactor.
Just on this page, apparently. Alright, whatever.
Just one.
Alright,
You might have confused it with 2 renames.
With the double author. Good old double author.
Website should load.
Let's try again. Is here. Tables, authors, poems, columns, and columns. Author ID. So whatever you name the type. So you've got an object of a type which in my mind I'm thinking of a type, other database table. And whatever you name it, it automatically creates an ID based on the name of that property, right?
Yeah. That's at least that was our hypothesis, and we were able to prove it. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe there's some like weird other stuff happening, and this is just a strange coincidence. But yeah, I think you're right. I think whatever you name that object, Entity Framework will look for that object plus the 2 letters ID, and then that's how it associates this. So, cool. We all learned something new.
Yeah, we're doing great here. All right. So, do we need to create this GUID then if it's automatically making one for us?
Ooh, so this is a good question. Yeah, so what we saw was if we didn't define a foreign key, because we had an object mapped in here, that Entity Framework still made the foreign key for us. So the good news is, like, no matter what, we got a foreign key out of it. But I think it's a good idea to keep author ID here, to keep the foreign key here in code, even though it's going to exist in SQL anyways. Because if we ever want to map the other direction, right? So maybe we have, here's a good example: the random poem button. The random poem button just goes and pulls a random poem out of the poem database, and so the random poem button right now will pull out the poem, but we don't know who the author is. We would want to, so we could reference the author's ID to get back to it, or like if we're doing these link queries here, it might be that we need that ID to do the mappings instead of saying like, actually this for loop right here, we're saying we have the author's name hard coded. When we rewrite this HTML, then we can use IDs and stuff like that. But actually, okay, here's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So the good news is we followed the docs, and everything worked.
Good.
We ran some tests trying to figure out like, what is this Entity Framework voodoo doing in SQL, and we think we understand it. And right,
I mean, like,
you're good there too. Like
I've got enough of an understanding for where we're at right now.
Yeah, same. That's exactly like I like the world I live in right now. Like, I'm not an expert, but I feel like I understand everything. Until
hire me.
Right. It's like it's that good feeling where like you learn something new and you think you're an expert in it now until something doesn't work like it won't in a couple minutes, and we're like, rollers, save us. But
that's right. Yeah, that's what we'll be doing. Give it time. Stick around, please.
So what I'm thinking right now is there's 2 things we need to do moving forward. We need to rewrite the HTML. So what we were talking about earlier on the show, right? We can delete probably 100 lines of code where we have all the authors hard coded.
Yeah.
We can rewrite that now. The other to-do item is we still have no idea how to do this database migration. So the database in production is still the old database.
Yeah.
And what we should do, we really should be good developers at some point and learn how to do an Entity Framework migration. Because what I'm thinking about is like, when I go back to work tomorrow, fun fact, thanks to PJ teaching me how to make these websites in ASP.NET Core, I made my first website.
Teaching.
Also using Entity Framework. And if my manager on Monday says, hey, we need to add in this new functionality, and I go, oh, shoot, that means I have to add another table to the database, and I have to do a migration, then I'm still in the same place. So we got to learn this. Like, Entity Framework Core is not going anywhere. So I think what we should do, we should take the easy win. We should redo the HTML, because that's going to take 30 minutes to an hour, but at least we know how to do that.
Right.
And then we can start banging our heads against a wall, trying to figure out how to do entity framework migrations. But
all right,
I want to at least like have a win on the. Actually, that's kind of my like development philosophy in general. Is like, if I'm gonna spend hours writing code, I want to at least like walk away feeling like, okay, I got at least one win out of this.
Yeah. Now
next time's gonna suck, but
yeah. If we want it to look like the actual your new favorite poem page.
Oh yeah, look at that. Of course, because it still works in production.
Yeah. So if we want it to look like this, we have to consider what do we need in the for each loop to make this happen? Well, the database needs the picture URL, it needs the title in a list. Like it's my brain's having a hard time wrapping around how to use a for each loop to make it happen.
Yeah, I think what we can do is copy paste some code because we already have because there's a couple things going on here, right? There's the UI, so there's the what's called the neomorphic design you have going on there.
Yeah,
there's
this cool thing.
Yeah, that like raised border. There's the image next to it, and so all that already exists in our HTML code. So let's find where that exists.
Okay,
because that's going inside the for each loop.
That's this section.
Oh, look at that. Wow. Sorry, just admiring the code. You did a really nice job.
What do you mean?
I was expecting a lot more HTML code.
Oh, no. It's very simple. Like, I have a class. The CSS controls, the CSS for class poets is doing a lot of the work for how it looks. Where the hell is the CSS? That's shared. And no.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's we hid the nasty code.
Well, even so, like if this is my CSS and the poet, so this is the CSS that's making it look like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
When you're
I think Rollers tried to drop a link there.
Oh, shoot.
Links. Wait. Oh, wait. No, it doesn't get blocked out for us in StreamYard. Oh, yes, it does. Never
mind. Rollers, can you send the link?
If you like break it up with spaces and stuff.
Yeah, like https:// space www space. I don't know. But thank you. First of all, thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we have this.
It's not nasty. That's actually the good news.
It's all surprisingly very elegant.
Hey,
it's my favorite kind of code.
I copied and pasted it.
Then the only other thing. Good point, Pyrock. The only thing in the HTML, where is the code for the image? So this gives us that box.
Yeah.
And that's so we need to just make sure we have the image in that row as well.
Right here.
Okay, cool. So this chunk of code is what's going to go into our for each loop. So I think what we can do is keep one of these. Like who's the first author listed here in this HTML?
It's Ocean, yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking we just delete everything down. And yeah, we can do that. It's fine. We're gonna take note of the fact we're losing those URLs. Those are only hard coded right here, but that's okay because we have all that in source control. So we don't need to like save those strings anywhere because source control will or already has those saved for us.
I saw the link.
I see what's going on, Rollers. That's definitely a link to the Microsoft Docs. I recognize that format. So yeah, what we can do, we can delete all the code below Ocean Vung, and then wrap that inside of a for each loop, and then just kind of start poking at it.
let's do a thing where I'm going to comment it all out for now. Right? So I'm going to take the Layli Long Soldier. I'm just going to take the end of this comment, and I'm going to cut it. And down here, I'm going to see if this works.
Yeah, because you have the comments on the other sections.
Too many
so you have to
comments
cut
on
all
those.
the end comments.
I mean, let's just or
Control KC.
Yeah. The way you told me to, right? All right, and down to the body.
I also have no idea how to do block comments in HTML, so
it's this thing. It's like a dash arrow at the end and a arrow exclamation point dash. So this is all commented out.
Cool. So yeah. Oh wait, that.
Oh, Mary Oliver, what are you doing to me?
Oh, it's hitting the same problem because we have all those closing comments. You just delete it, man.
All right.
Because we're not losing anything. Everything's already been saved in source control. That's why I can do crazy stuff like this, thanks to Git.
Thanks, Git.
So, like, we'll need to grab these URLs again later, but we know where to find them.
All right. So then deleted. There you go.
All right. So.
All right. And I'm going to delete this comment, and now we're just index page as a single for each loop.
So this is where we'll start writing that for each loop. So we'll say like at for each, and really what we're going to be saying is var author in. And speaking of the C#, you mentioned that earlier, that poems from database is initialized in the C# code.
Yeah.
So what we should probably have is we should probably just replace that. Instead of poems from database, it should be authors from database.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that in the C# codes. Yeah.
So let's go to that's here. We're doing that. Yeah. Are we just renaming it?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we just change the type of the list to author. Yeah, we rename it to authors from database. And then, yeah, I can go ahead and click apply. Mm-hmm. We'll get some red squiggles that we can fix now. So if we, so change that from a list of poems to a list of authors. Let's not forget that.
List of authors.
Oh, I guess author. List of type author.
There we go.
And then where do we initialize that? There it is.
Poem.
So poem database. Okay. So we don't need the poem database anymore. We need the author database. So in the constructor here, see how it says we're passing in poem database?
Mm-hmm.
Let's tell it to pass in author database instead. IntelliSense disappeared on you.
It sure did.
So then, yeah, we can rename that to author database with a lowercase a.
Yep.
And then down below on line 34, we'll need to fix that as well. So let's fix line 34. So line 34 should be author database with a on the right side of the equals. Yeah, that should be the lowercase a.
Okay.
And then on line 33, we have to jump back to, if you right-click poem database and say go to definition, we also have to change that to be an author database. So private read-only author database, renamed to be author database.
Dang it.
Oh, no, you had it right the first time. We're not doing a rename on the type.
Oh, okay.
Just on the variable name.
And then change this. Then this.
All right. I don't see any more red squiggles.
We got the URL.
Oh, that's right. So this is the random poem. So yeah, the random poem was pulling a random poem. What it pulled now is a random author.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to add some logic here. So the first thing I would do is line 21. That's not a random poem anymore. Let's rename that to be random author. And then
we still want it to pull a random poem from the author, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just have to do one more step now.
Okay.
So, the same way we have that index variable above, we're just going to essentially repeat that for, I would do a new line under line 21, and I would say something like var poem index equals, and then basically the same code above, like random.next. But we're going to go from 0 to, now it's going to be the random author dot poems count. So that random author variable has the list of poems inside of it.
Okay.
And now we can count that. And that's just like the one extra step is, yeah, you can get rid of those square brackets.
You like how I put square brackets there?
I love how Visual Studio is like, oh, you accidentally hit square bracket instead of the equal sign? I'll give you 2 square brackets.
Let me help you.
And then now we can return the poem.
It'd be poem index.url.
It is so.
Oh.
It is random author dot poems square bracket index. So we're taking the index of this poems now. And make sure that's poem index to match that variable on line 22.
Hey.
Whew, okay. That's like,
man, you came up with that on the fly. That was pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay. So I think all our code here is good now. We've got our authors list. We're still generating the random poem, but leveraging the authors table first. And so, oh yeah, you already have that there. So, yeah, let's do
database.
Let's do the curly brackets. So we
don't need a where.
We shouldn't have to. Each author should be unique. We'll find out if this holds true. But what we'll probably want to do is in the future for the add a new poem, we would have to add some validation there to be like, this author already exists or this poem already exists. But for now, yeah, we'll just assume that this is all unique. And so now
I've got everything in the for each loop, which I felt was the next step. And then we just need to plug in variables and references such that this is actually going to do a thing.
I feel like that's a good way of defining coding.
So now we have to code.
Well, so welcome to our stream where we take variables and make them do things we want.
All right. Yeah, that's accurate.
So sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Sometimes we tell it to do a thing, but we told it wrong.
My wife always gives me a hard time for that. Because I'm like, why is this code not working? She's like, well, the code's only doing what you told it to do. Like, you're right. But I don't want to hear it like that.
That's right. Be nicer to me. All right, so let's do it this way. The ID, I don't really use the ID very much in my CSS, and I'm like, where'd my CSS go? I had some. Oh, save it.
Definitely save that, yeah.
Well, I had my CSS open, but I guess not. Fine. Okay. Like, I don't use it as in my CSS at all. Like, I'm not using the individual ID names anywhere. I was just using that so if I wanted to change one thing, I could. But...
Uh-oh.
Well, yeah, you're not supposed to use ID. I wrote that a million years ago.
Back when we were just young, naive,
just
CSS developers.
Yeah. I was a child. Alright. I'm keeping the poets class. For here, we want this H2 title to read the author name. Classes are for CSS. IDs. Oh, IDs are for JavaScript, and we're not using any JavaScript on this, so we're good.
Oh. Okay.
Alright. So we need, and what we're doing is we're pulling the model authors from database. So we're working with this, right? No, we're working with the models.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the things we can pull. We can pull a name. And that's what we need there. I'm thinking out loud. And I'm working hard here. No laughing at me. I'm working.
No, I love that you nailed it. It was, you could see like you're setting up the story and it was going to be a journey. And it's like, oh, we're just going to do that then.
And that's the thing, and it's done. So now to access that, we need, so for each author in model.authors from database, we need author.name, but we need that as some C#.
Oh, cool. Okay. But we want to do it on author because we made that variable author at the beginning of the for each loop.
So it should be.
So yeah, can you just say author? Yes. Oh man, that's cool.
Oh, check it out. Bio, created at, ID is deleted, name. At author.name poems.
Cool.
Okay. Good. So far, so good. Next is the list that we make, the unordered list, and the list element. And all of this is referencing stuff that doesn't exist anymore. So
it exists, just in different places.
We're going to keep the other for each loop here. Mm-hmm. For each variable poem in model.authors from database, where we already are pulling the author from before. Mm-hmm. So we don't need the where anymore, do we?
Nope. Or correct.
So for each variable poem, and now poem in model authors from database. Oh, my brain's it's empty. It's trying to like pour information out, and it's just garbage.
So again, don't forget we created that variable author.
Right.
So we already know the author we're working with.
Mm-hmm.
And each author has a list of poems.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just reference that. I would say var poem in at author.poems. And then that should give us the same data.
And then now we need the URL and the title.
Already done.
My brain worries that that's not going to work. Because I'm not getting squigglies, but like... Crazy. I guess it would work. Alright, now this.
Yes.
We need to take this URL and we need to add it to our database.
Yeah, or reference what is in the database.
Right. And so the source is at author dot. Oh, where'd it go? There we go.
Oh, that was weird.
Picture URL.
What is that? Oh, well, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Don't worry about it. It was just a ghost.
Weird IntelliSense. Now, the one thing I just noticed is you have the alt text.
That was for being a good human being.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it, and I want to. It's what I'm thinking is it's probably not a bad idea to add that to our database as well, right? Like,
yeah, add an alt text.
Yeah, so in the author model, we should probably have a alt pick.
Let's do it right now.
So picture URL. Yeah, maybe we have like a string picture alt text. Yeah, Pyrock, totally right. Pyrock saying that eventually we should host our own images. And ironically, we already got in trouble or hit some trouble because the website we were referencing went down. But PJ actually reached out to the website owner and was like, hey, just FYI, your website's down. And then once their website came back up, then it fixed our website. Yeah, hey, Matt's back. Good to see you again, Matt.
Nice. Matt Hamilton, thank you. Matt's one of the first people that ever watched my stream.
Like he literally might be the first.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's good.
And I forget, because Matt saved our butts with something, right?
Oh, man, it might have been very early on. Yeah.
It was, again, no surprise, just us struggling.
Us not knowing what's going on.
That goes, oh, just do this. And we're like, oh okay.
And we did, and it worked. All right, so I added the pictures alt text string, and I did it to set it to string.empty, just like we did for the other strings. And so now that that's there, we should be able to say, well, we have to add the alt text to the database, which is something I have to do like on my own. Like,
I know, I was just thinking that, like, that's
that's fine. Alt text has to be, you have to create it yourself anyway. That's what makes it accessible. Like, that's what makes it good. You're doing it yourself.
Yeah, and, like, we can... Thanks, Matt. So, highly recommend subscribing to, following Matt on Twitch. I follow Matt on Twitter as well. Matt, is your Twitter handle also Matt Hamilton 77? So, no, I appreciate the insights coming out of Matt.
Oh yeah,
just an all around good guy.
Oh yeah,
glad our lives cross paths for sure.
This looks like it.
Nah, that's right, Hammer Toe.
Hammer Toe.
You're gonna have to explain that story to us someday.
Yes, absolutely. I think the loop is done.
Yeah. So the only other thing that kind of sucks is we just added another column to the database.
Yeah.
Which, if we run this code again using
Electric Boogaloo,
the temporary database, whatever database we're using right now.
I'm going to drop these tables now, I think. Thank you very much. Because I don't need them anymore.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Or not. Hold on. I need to
Body
drop
tables.
schema. Review. Yes. No. Drop it.
Oh, Hamilton. Oh.
Oh. That's clever. Alexander Hammer Toe.
Oh shoot! I just realized my battery's dying.
Oh no!
Plug in.
My name is Alexander Hammer Toe. There's a million toes I haven't hammered. Alright, so we kept local DB, which was the first one, but that one still doesn't have the other table, so because we never did the migration. So we're gonna have to figure out migration, but we got the HTML going.
Oh man, battery is really low.
How did you let this happen? 6%? I would have been all alone on here.
I've never streamed before. I don't know. It's my first time.
I say that every day in my class. Like, I'll mess something up. I'll be like, I'm sorry, it's my first day as an English teacher.
I worked with a guy once, back when I was in high school. That was, so growing up in Orlando, like we both did, you end up working a lot at the theme parks.
Yep.
And yeah, I was working at Disney, and anytime this guy would get yelled at by a guest, because vacations are stressful, especially when you're with your family, and like, it's like you forget to put hot, like ketchup on a hot dog, and
oh yeah,
sometimes that is like the breaking point for the guest who's just been having a terrible day, and it's
Yep.
like, can't even get ketchup on a hot dog. But he'd always be like, I'm sorry, ma'am, it's my first day. And like the just immediate tone shift for this person.
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, like,
And I was like, dude.
what if you were just nice from the get-go because the job is, like, a little rough sometimes, you know? Like,
It's almost like a cheat code to get people to be nice to you, which, granted, he probably should have done his job right the first time, and she probably should have been nice to him from the beginning, but then they came together and became friends because it was his first day. I was like, I know you've been doing this job for 5 years. That was a lie.
all right.
Life advice. That's how we do it on this stream.
That's right. Tell them it's your first day. I will tell people it's my first day until, like, my dying breath. I will be, like, laying in a hospital bed surrounded by family. It's 2081. All right? I'm 96 years old. And I'll look around and they'll be like, my God, his oxygen levels are dropping. And I'll be like, I'm sorry. It's my first day. And then I'll slowly pass away and I'll be absorbed into the live stream like in Final Fantasy VII, and it'll be great.
Sounds nice.
These are my plans.
Oh, man. Like,
So we need to create a new database, right? We need to create a new table.
Yeah, so I think the next step we should...
The next step's the migration, right?
Well, if we run it now, because you just dropped all those tables, right?
I just dropped all those tables. So it'll recreate the new one.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just make sure that everything works when you run it.
It's gonna break. If this doesn't break, I'll be very impressed. There it is.
Got an exception. Oh, I forgot to do that.
That's the exception we put in. Isn't it?
No.
No. Oh, he gone. He gone. That's it. It's just me. He said I forgot to do that, and then he... Oh, God. Oh, Lord. I was so scared. I was like, I can't do this on my own. I was about to switch over to Codecademy and start relearning some C# List. Oh.
I am struggling, but if I disappear, it's because I'm just trying to like close all the programs on my desktop, try to conserve power.
Just conserve battery.
I've got a bigger power supply I might go grab if my computer actually shuts itself off. But
oh man.
All right. What were we just talking? Oh,
the exception we hit
because we're using dependency injection. So we should actually show off what the problem is first. If we go to the constructor of this page model class.
Oh, hold on.
So the C# code for index.
For index. I had it up somewhere. Oh, I got rid of it. All right.
So we were injecting Poem database into the constructor. We're now injecting author database, which is fine. We should be doing it like this. Dependency injection is a good thing. We'll just leave it at that. Dependency injection is also really complicated because what you also need to do is define what you can inject, and we didn't define that we can inject author database. So back in I think it's the startup class, like startup.cs.
Okay.
Actually right
there.
So we added Poem database, but we never added author database. And so, yeah, this is basically where you can define all of the classes that you want to inject into constructors in the future. And there's all sorts of different options for this stuff. Like we're using singletons meaning that there's only going to be ever one instance. So if we have, and we do have multiple different pages on our website that reference the database, they're still referencing the same database. We're not going to reinitialize a new database anytime somebody goes to a different page.
Exactly. Because that's just silly.
That would be called a transient.
Yeah, and you don't want to be transient.
That's right. You want to be present.
That's right. I know all of this. Don't worry. I
Oh,
can't
should
wait to
probably
see
turn it
how
on.
this page looks. Yeah, because there's no data, so nothing exists there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's fine
Um,
because there's Let's Try Again.
Let's try again. That's such
There's
an apropos
poems,
name.
right? There's columns for authors, and there's picture alt text. Now that's apart. That's
Beautiful.
good. All the things we
So-
saw happening before are happening, and that's what we wanted. And there's the foreign key again as well.
So I think to kind of continue on this path of easy wins and kind of delay the inevitable database migration terror. That's probably the best way to put it. Let's go back and fix all this stuff to seed the database.
Oh, that's right.
Because
Okay.
we commented out that constants class,
Yeah,
and
there it is.
let's uncomment this out and watch the red squiggles fly.
So I'm gonna stop this and select all and Control K C. Oh no, that just recomments it.
So Control K U, because U is uncomment. Don't know how you didn't intuitively guess that one.
What a fool I was back then.
I will say on Visual Studio for Mac, it is very intuitive. It's just, well, we use command instead of control, but it's command slash. So the same slash you use for the comments.
Yeah, that's smart.
Wait, what happened? Why is everything lowercase?
Wasn't it? Oh god, it is all over. Oh, hold on,
That's
hold on,
so
hold on.
bizarre.
No, I did it. Watch.
What?
Yeah,
There's a keyboard shortcut to make everything lowercase?
I'm thinking it's Control U.
Oh. There we go. Oh,
That's
dude, we should
wild.
get one of those. So if you watch like the really good Twitch streams, they've got keyboard shortcuts that appear.
Oh,
And so, like, PJ's telling you that he's pressing these keys, but is he actually pressing them?
oh, what a fool he is.
Yeah, I've seen cool streams where like when you do a keyboard shortcut, it just like pops up on the screen real quick. So if somebody's never heard of it, like I'd never heard of control. You said Control U.
Control U.
Control U.
Apparently, it makes everything lowercase for some reason. Which you would think that'd be like, it would do like all uppercase. Oh lord, I hit Control L and I don't know what it did. All right, I'm done with the shortcuts for right now. Look, we got problems. All right, we got problems here.
Yeah. Well, so this is where we'll have to redefine this seed data because now we have. Ah, thanks, Matt. It's not my idea. I can't take credit for it. I just saw somebody else
what you
do it,
saw
and
on
it's like,
Twitch.
wow, I would follow that guy on Twitch.
Yeah,
But
I would also follow us on Twitch
that's right.
if you're not, and you're here.
Messing around, Code Traveler.
We're
The
trying to
Code
build our
Traveler.
brand here. I wear Hawaiian shirts, and Brandon has a lot of smarts, and that's our tagline.
Oh yeah, so we can't just create a list of poems because we have to create a list of authors first.
Right.
So I'm thinking we just change this to author list, and then kind of we'll start working our way through it. So like an I read only list of type author called author list.
And we should probably change the class name, right?
I don't know. I mean, we're still defining poems.
Okay, I'll leave it. I'm fine with that.
Maybe we do later. So
All right.
yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, here we are. We've got all this type poem, so we need to change that to author, right?
Yeah, but I would say let's leave it here because this is the data that we need for the poems anyways. So eventually we're going to just have to copy paste this or cut and paste. So like I would just add a new line and say new author. And we could start with Ocean Vuong and kind of figure it out from here. So do we have a constructor for author class?
Oh, we never made one, no. We've got one for
Okay, that's fine.
the poem.
Because we also deleted the one
model.
for poem.
We deleted we don't have one for anything. We're basically out of constructors.
Cool. Well, that's fine because we can just use initializers. So yeah, if we jump back to poem constants, then instead of using a parenthesis, which would use the constructor, we can do an open curly bracket, which lets us just access the properties directly. And let's bring that curly bracket down to the next line. Because I can imagine there's going to be a couple of them. But here, yeah, now you get the IntelliSense. So now you can say author name equals Ocean Vuong. Cool.
Oh man, am I gonna have to for each of these?
So no. Get rid of that curly bracket. Bye, Pyrock. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Pyrock.
Always
have a good one.
And let's get rid of that semicolon. And bring that curly bracket down to the next line. And move name to its own new line. There we go. Yeah, so now after Ocean Vuong, we can just say comma, enter, new line. And then we can continue defining the author. So what do we need like the URL.
Oh god. Does it need to be in order? It's better if it's in order, huh?
It's all going to go into the database. So order doesn't really matter.
It's going to be ID, name, bio. Oh, a bio? Oh my god, I have to write bios for all these authors.
Well, we could put some placeholders for now.
Yeah, poems. Bio coming soon. Poems. Picture URL, picture alt text is deleted, created at, updated at, is verified. All we really need is name, bio, poems?
Yeah. And that's where we can leverage the existing poems code.
Yeah. Picture URL, picture alt text. That's all I need to create is those. So let's... Oh, nope. Can't. Nope. All right.
So you'll get IntelliSense.
Will I?
I would recommend using IntelliSense instead of copy pasting anything. So if you just hit, what is it on PC? Control space.
Control space.
Well.
Oh right.
Yeah. So like if you go back before you typed bio.
Yeah.
Control space will bring it up your IntelliSense for author. So usually when I'm doing this, I just go down this list. So like bio equals, then go to the next line, control space, whatever the next property is. Well, yeah, fill in bio. We could just leave it as an empty string for now, I guess. Coming soon.
Then.
So a lot of that's a lot of stuff's gonna be filled in for the database.
And I need to grab the actual picture URL from somewhere.
So this is where I would jump back to GitHub Desktop.
Yeah.
And look at the code we deleted. Because this is what I was saying earlier. Is like we could comment.
Yeah, it's
out
already
this code,
saved in Git. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, like
this. So
I just hate commented code. Just if it's commented out, it's because you didn't need it. And if you don't need it, then why is it here? But
okay.
I will admit that's definitely a personal gripe.
You've got some gripes. You've got some gripes.
I do. I've been doing this too long, man.
I'm full of
become very
gripes.
set in my ways.
All right,
and obviously my way is the best way.
Yeah, naturally.
Such as that. In life.
And I need that to stop. Okay, and then comma.
Boom.
Control space. And we
don't
need
forget that equal sign too.
No, you don't need it. An IntelliSense automatically knows you mean equals. I'm getting some red squiggles.
What's because it's a URI. So we have to say new URI. And then we pass in this string. That's right. As the constructor. So new URI, open parenthesis. Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of myself for just knowing that you meant as the constructor. And I was like, oh yeah, it means parentheses. Hire me.
Yes.
Picture alt text equals, and that's a string, so I can just pull that directly from GitHub Desktop. I'm pretty sure that people are super excited about watching me slowly copy all of this. So this is
Chloe made it.
Chloe made it. Chloe, look.
What's up, Chloe?
I don't know what's going on here, Chloe. I knew what was going on when we did the JavaScript. Don't know what's happening here. Just wild confused. She must be on your Twitch right now. Ooh. Or maybe on YouTube.
Oh, somebody is watching my Twitch. Chloe, are you on my Twitch?
Chloe, I'm the one who needs the views. No, I don't need the views. I actually don't need the views. I need the, oh, that's it. That's all we need to, oh no, we need poems.
Oh yeah, the list of poems.
Yeah, and now we're going to leverage that. That's a list.
Yep.
Right?
So we can actually, there's a little shortcut here, because we could say new list, blah, 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 but
yeah,
you can also, I don't know if this is going to make any sense, but you can pass an array into a list, and then the list listifies it.
Oh, yes, that's true. I've learned that.
So yeah, we can just say new space, open close square bracket. Oh, IntelliSense was trying to help us out.
Sure was.
Yeah, just say, or not even that, just the square bracket. Like, we don't even need the word list. So, and then do a enter to go to the next line. Open curly bracket, new line. And now we can just pass in that poem. So like I would take, I would click on line 24, hold the Alt button and tap the arrow button up and bring that poem inside these curly brackets. And what we're going to do now is, because we don't have this constructor anymore for poem, we can keep the data, and I would just change that open parenthesis to a curly bracket, and then just say, basically do what we were doing above. So like, is like the name of the poem. So like just say like name equals.
Yeah.
And then we can reuse a lot of this code that's already here. Oh wait, don't delete that.
What? That's just his name.
Oh, that's the author. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey! Gabagool!
The dum-dum.
Alright, so now we need new poem, and we're saying it's the name of the poem.
Hit
title.
Control
we have
space.
Its title? Yeah. Title.
Yeah, title.
Thanks, IntelliSense. Title equals One Day I'll Love Ocean Vuong.
Aw.
Oh, that's really one of his good ones. That's such a great, like, it's a heartbreaking poem. He's so good. Nope, we're taking a break. We're taking a break to talk about One Day I'll Love Ocean Vuong.
That sounds nice.
I have shown this to like students before, and they've been like, "Oh my god." Yeah. Don't worry, your father is only your father until one of you forgets. Like how the spine won't remember its wings, no matter how many times our knees kiss the pavement. Ugh. The ocean, are you listening? The most beautiful part of your body is wherever your mother's shadow falls. Frickin', there is no one in the world, and I know I've got a big New Yorker ad right now, so I'm going to go to a place that isn't giving me an ad. They write with such a heartbreaking, like, it's like a sadness without being like, oh, I'm sad. It's more like a, isn't life a regretful dinner, like, kind of feeling. Like, oh my god. Call it horizon and you'll never reach it. There's something about writing a love letter to yourself, but knowing that it may never happen. You know? Ocean is a master. I can't say enough good things about Ocean Vuong. Gorgeous writing. And they have a novel. It should be what's their novel called? Isn't it Night Sky with Exit Wounds? On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. These are their books, and just do it. Just do it. Ocean Vuong was actually on, I think it was a talk show. I think he was on, Seth Meyers.
What? No way.
Oh, where was he? I saw an interview with Ocean Vuong, and he was plugging his book on a real deal TV talk show. I saw it somewhere. Come on. Apparently Vice did something with him.
Oh, wow.
Again, this Ocean Vuong is fantastic and not unknown. We don't know, the average person doesn't know Ocean Vuong necessarily, but people who read a lot have talked about Ocean Vuong and are constantly talking about Ocean Vuong. So read this poem, read the other poem I have on my website, which currently is live, so you can actually see it. But read some Ocean Vuong and let it do stuff to you. That's the whole point of this website, is to share poetry with people, poetry that people wouldn't normally encounter. And that's the reason I started doing this anyway. People should be reading poetry, and people should be experiencing, because it's a great way to feel another human's existence in your own. And it's something that we don't often get to experience, We can lock ourselves inside our own feelings pretty easily, but we don't get to experience other people's emotions very often. Really so how do I do this again?
Oh yeah, so we're just gonna define. So hit Control Space again. I forget what we named this stuff.
We named it
URL, poem URL, or just URL. There we go.
Yeah, it's just URL. And right since it's a URI, we have to do it that way, right? Yep.
That looks good.
And so the poem, we're only going to be using, golly gee, the title and the URL, I think. I think that's all we need, because we don't need the author. Do we need the author ID so it's connected? No, because this is what we're going to be. This is for the website. We don't need that. That's for the databases to talk to each other.
Yeah, does Entity Framework automatically populate that ID for us? I'm going to say let's leave it blank and let's find out.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Well, because once we chew through this, it'll take another. It's just going to be 10 minutes of straight hand typing.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I had a buddy. Around, you'll love it.
I had a buddy that had a really good name for it. Hand jamming.
Hand jamming.
Something where you know what to do, and it's not difficult. There's no brain processing power going on. It's just you're just hand jamming. You just have to type this out. There's no other way around it.
Jamming. That's funny.
Yeah, we should fix those indentations. I just saw playing around with that. If you go to line 21, let's tab that in. I guess this way. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, so right there. And then align the curly bracket with that. Give the curly bracket... Move those all back a tick. So, put the curly bracket underneath the word new.
Oh.
And then, title.
There we go.
So you can do a shift tab. Shift tab will tab it in the opposite direction.
Oh, neat.
The curly bracket's still a little off, but one more.
You want it directly underneath?
There you go. Yep. So you see how the curly bracket is under the poems?
Okay.
Things get weird when we start nesting property initializers inside of property initializers.
Yeah. And then that's there, and then that's there, and that's correct. Why is there a red squiggle? Type your new favorite poem.models.poem to systems collection generic list.
Let's ignore it for a second. Let's bring up this next Ocean Vuong poem.
Okay.
So you can put a comma after, let's see, line 25. Yeah, right there. And then now we can add another poem. Or rather, bring up line 21.
21?
Mm-hmm. Because that's the other Ocean Vuong poem.
Oh, 29.
Oh, I'm sorry, 29.
And then
I cranked down my brightness to try and help the
yeah.
battery.
I do appreciate that you are trying your hardest not to abandon me. Man. And then we're doing title equals untitled and blue, green, brown.
So what I'm gonna do while you're hand jamming, I'm gonna bring over my bigger power supply.
There you go. I think that's a fine idea.
I'll be back in a jiff.
Yay! And I'm just hand jamming, y'all, with all the red squiggles you could ever want to see. It's hard to banter when you're all alone, I have to say, but I think I'll find a way. Well, I'll find a way. But yeah, definitely check out those poems on my website, guys, because like Ocean Vuong's not the only great poet on there. We have Mary Oliver, who's an absolute amazing poet, but one that you have likely encountered before. Because she's taught a lot more. Ocean Vuong has only been writing poems for the past like decade or so. Mary Oliver was writing in the 70s and 80s. So this should be working poems. And then that should be the end, right? New author. That should be you. Is that you? Are you that? So, new author, name, Ocean Vuong, bio coming soon. Picture URL is the new URI. And this, it's trying to convert something. He said to ignore it for now. New array of poems, and inside are 2 new poems. If it's red, it needs to be deleted. Oh no, I don't think I can delete all that. So I need... That should line up with that. That lines up with that. That lines up with that. Yeah! And then I'm going to delete System 32, right? That's the next part. And so I just need to keep creating a new author. What if I just... Nope. What if I do this, maybe? Next should be Layli Long Soldier, who has an amazing poem called 38. And let's pull the Layli Long Soldier stuff here. The source picture. Copy. And we're going back to Visual Studio. Picture URL. Boop. And let's pull the alt text. And let's drop that. And that's that. And poems new. And then we're going to take Layli Long. I'm going to alt up to here.
Woo!
Hey dude, welcome back.
We are good to go.
I've got so many red squiggles here.
Oh, man. My laptop battery is officially charging.
Okay, good.
Happy days.
It's increasing now.
I'm gonna go on a tangent. Well, you keep going.
Oh, okay.
I'm just gonna complain to the folks at home. So let me share. Let's see. Can I just share? Nah. Let's just share my whole screen. So hi, Jack. All right. So I learned something new recently. Because I kept having this problem where my battery keeps dying on my laptop. Well, especially like when I'm doing intense stuff. Well, intense, computationally intense, extreme. But like, yeah, if like I'm streaming, if I'm working on an iOS or an Android app, where I'm also like running the Android simulator at the same time as Visual Studio and compiling code. And I was like, why does my laptop not even charge anymore, even though it's plugged in?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I want to share, because I didn't know about this, is you can come into your MacBook Pro's system report and it shows you your incoming power. So this is the 2019 16-inch MacBook Pro that has a 100-watt battery capacity. So I should always be using a 100-watt charger. And right now we can see that my AC charger is connected and the wattage is 100. Boom. Which is perfect. This is exactly what I want because that also means it's charging. And I don't know if I roll the dice and switch. I'm not going to roll the dice.
Don't do it. It'll ruin everything.
But yeah, I have all these chargers, these USB-C chargers that I like. If you read if you read the output on the charger, it says that it outputs 87 watts or 96 watts or 100 watts, and that's what they claim. But then I connect it to the MacBook and I go look in the settings, and like the charger I was just using was only giving me 40 watts. But the charger itself literally says on the charger, and this is like the official Apple charger too. So like if any charger should work, it should be the Apple charger. It says that it can pump out 96 watts. So I don't know. Something weird's going on, and I haven't really figured it out yet. But yeah, it causes me to, or causes my laptop, my MacBook Pro battery to drain even though I'm plugged in. But I've got a big beefy power supply that can output a couple 100 watts. And whenever I plug that sucker in, then
tell me more about that beef.
Well, where is the beef?
Yeah, this is what we want to know.
That's what the people
Salty
are asking.
Panda. Salty Panda. Hello. Okay, these red squiggles are driving me crazy. Tell me how I'm gonna fix this eventually. It's telling me to introduce a field for an array of poems.
So mouse over poems. Let's make sure we got all the data types right. So what is poem? Poem's a list of poems. So if we get rid of the square brackets and we could first try to treat it like a list. So if we say like list of type poem, that might be good enough. Okay. So I tried to be cute with the square brackets and got yelled at.
Thank you. It was making me crazy.
Oh wait.
And
do space.
Yeah.
I just noticed you didn't have a space between new and the square brackets.
Oh, did I
don't know
not?
if that's what it was doing.
Dang.
Screw it.
Ack.
Sometimes you try to be clever and you get burned.
All right, I want to make sure I did this all correct. So, author name, bio, picture, alt text, poems equals new list of type poem with the two poems in it with the title and the URL, comma. This one doesn't need a comma here, right?
Yeah, because that's the last thing we're adding to the list.
This is the last one.
So.
This then is the bracket for poems. Mm-hmm. This is the closing bracket for new author, but then that does need a comma afterward because all of this is in the list of type author.
Yeah, no, it looks really good.
Cool.
Does we still have a bunch of. I was gonna say you could try doing a command KC to see if it'll align stuff, but.
Oh, we got so much work to do, bud.
Yeah, we'll save that for the.
Like enough work to do that it might be a thing that I need to do on my own.
Actually, that's not a bad point. You can comment out the rest of the poems.
Yeah.
And we can kind of move forward with this as the seed data.
Like we've got two of them. Let's see if we can do that.
Yeah. And if we go back to, okay, so how were we seeding this? We were seeding this
in the
yeah, we're doing it in the database context. So that's now in our base database class. That's in our genericized class. So, yeah, what's going through my mind right now is Entity Framework has built-in tools that you can just, there's like an override method that's like on seed, but we abstracted that away.
Yeah.
And that makes this one-time seed exponentially more difficult. So why don't we cheat a little bit?
Yeah.
And let's just go to our index page model. So the C# code for that index page. And here are the constructor. We're gonna do some dirty, nasty code.
That's a bad. We're gonna do a bad thing.
Just to get some seed data in there. I don't recommend this as the way you actually seed your database, but instead of doing more hand jamming and re-architecting, we can just slide this data in. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm thinking is, okay. So, this is so bad. This is such dirty code. Well, because to save things to the database, oh, you know what? Let's just go back to the base database.
Okay. We're here. Done.
Because if we go all the way down to the database context, we can just write the dirty code down here.
Okay.
So after database.created, I think what we can do is say, we can put an if statement here to say if, try typing this. Can we say if T is POEM model? Or POEM, I'm sorry. And do some curly brackets on the next line. Let's see if that... Okay, so we don't get that syntactic sugar. But we can say if... it gets so nasty in C#. We say type of. So, I'm sorry, in the if statement, we're going to place T with type of. And that's just another keyword. Yeah, and tab that out so we get the lowercase. And then type of parenthesis T. And then we say equals type of POEM.
Okay, so it doesn't give you the option to just be like, if the T is type of, you have to go all the way back to like this way of doing it.
Yeah, and this is the code we just wrote here is literally why the is keyword exists in C#.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's basically what it's doing. Is saying is basically doing a type comparison.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, yeah, they don't allow us to do an is with that generic. Maybe somebody smarter than me has a good reason. It doesn't, because C# 9 just came out.
I'm sorry. Am I using C# 9 right now?
Did you update to the latest version of Visual Studio?
You know I don't know what I did or didn't do. I have not updated, no.
Oh. Yeah, if you just... well, we can't do it here because we can't use Visual Studio and update at the same time. But yeah, if you update, you'll get all the C# 9 goodies. I love them.
I don't know what they are.
We could do a whole episode on them.
We will do that sometime where we're not actually trying to build something. We're just talking about what C# does. That'd be a good episode.
Sold.
All right.
Now that we know that we're working with a POEM, then we can say how do we do this? We say data dot add? Ooh, add range. Yeah. because add would be one thing at a time, but we've got a whole range of stuff. And then probably in this parenthesis, let's see. Okay, so we should be able to just pass in our. Oh wait, no, we're doing this on authors. That's right. We're not seeding poems anymore. We're seeding authors. So
type of author.
Yeah, my bad. So yeah, let's just pass in, what is it, poem constants dot authors.
Author list.
Yeah, let's see if this allows it. It'll probably yell at us. Yeah. So maybe let's do this instead. Because data is still just typed to T. Like data doesn't know that we're using authors.
Right.
Salty Panda, this is C#.
Yeah,
I love
I did a few episodes where I did JavaScript on here though, but I switched back to C#, so I've been learning C# now. There's a lot of similarities.
But yeah, so what we can do in that if block, we can say data is author. I'm sorry, replacing the type of T.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just, delete all of that. Just keep basically the if. We'll rewrite this as if data is, and we'll have to say DB set of type author. Yeah. And then, yep. And then if we do a space, we can actually give it a variable name. So like we can say like author DB. And now author DB, you can actually see an IntelliSense there.
Yeah, it's like, hey, nice.
Yeah, and so now we can use that author DB variable instead of data on the next line. And this should be kosher for everybody.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Good look.
So,
well done, Brandon. Good job.
Thanks. Will it work? I have no idea. But we should put a breakpoint on the if statement to see if it resolves. Yeah.
There we go. Right on the if.
Cool. So
right.
What I'm thinking now is, did you drop the table or drop the database?
I think we accidentally redid it recently. So yeah, let's try again is there. So let me drop that schema for let's try again.
Drop down.
All right, it's gone.
Oh, one more thing for that if statement.
By the way, terrifying to drop my schema and then hear you go, oh!
Yeah, nothing to worry about. Everything's
fine. All right, so.
Yeah, just here in this if statement, we also want to say, so after that first Boolean comparison, right? So we have data is DB set author DB.
Yeah.
And we want to say and. So the ampersand.
Yep. Just got to find my ampersands. It's number 7 for those of you wondering at home.
And we also want to make sure that there's no data in author. So we want to say author db.any. Yep. And open close parenthesis. So any says, is there anything in this list? So this will resolve to true if there is something in there. And we only want to run that line of code if there's nothing in there.
Okay.
So we want to put a exclamation point to negate this. So if not author_db.any.
Yeah. So that means
that way
empty.
The second time we run this, it won't just keep adding the same authors.
It will just keep adding authors. All right, and right now this is only going to work for we only have Ocean Vuong and Layli Long Soldier up right now. All the rest of our poets, we're only looking for 2 poets to come in there.
Whew.
Ready?
I don't have a choice, do I?
That's right. Here we go.
Move fast and break things.
Yeah, move fast, break things, and fix it afterwards.
But then don't, because that's how Facebook got into the situation they're in today.
Womp womp.
Move
and
thoughtfully.
we should be hitting that breakpoint. There it is. Okay.
So
we're looking for.
So what is data right now?
Data is your new favorite poems.models.author. Yep.
So yeah, if we step over, we should enter the if block. Yes. Cool.
Okay.
So we're inside of it. We know we just seeded the data.
There we go.
All right.
Cool. And then
So our little,
is there like a...
yeah, you can just hit continue, that play button.
Ah. Okay.
Well,
So, yeah, and this is the problem. Here we are. Here's let's try again. Tables, authors, columns, and we need to look into this.
yeah, so right click on author and you should be able to say like read or, yeah, select.
No.
Oh, we didn't save it. Dang it.
What?
We did this
What
last
did we
time, remember? Jump back to the code. I think it's authordb.save. Should be on the next line of code. So after we add, yeah. I think we spent about like an hour debugging this the first time we were creating your website. Yeah, what's in Tell? There's something in here like save. Oh, wait, no, just database dot.
Oh.
Come on, any framework. And then is there a save or a set?
All right, hold on. Let's look. There's a migrate function here, dude. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Ensure created, ensure deleted, execute, migrate.
I'm going to copy your code from your GitHub repo, PJ.
Oh.
Because that code is still in production. That seeding data. So right now I'm on your GitHub page.
There it is, yeah. Should be like the first repo there.
Oh, we removed that seed logic?
I think we did a long time. You might have to go back
we-
a few versions.
We committed to master. Yeah, I see. You're right. Let's go look at the commit history. Database. Go back to the commit called database is working. It's just save changes. It's nothing. Like, it's not database dot save. It's just save changes.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny.
All right.
And is that a method or is that...
Yep, it's a method. So
Okay.
open, close that parenthesis. And now let's run it again.
Okay.
Because now we'll save.
I'm going to drop the schema.
Oh, you can leave it now because we didn't change the schema.
Yeah?
We just didn't seed it with any data.
Oh. Let's see if it's there. Come on, people now. Shout, brother, everybody get together. Okay, there's our business. We already got all that. We're good. Save changes. An error occurred.
Oh no! Oh no!
DB update exception occurred.
What? Show me more of that error message. Yeah.
Field is verified. Doesn't have a default value.
We have to give it a default value. It's a
for
bool.
Is verified. It's a bool.
That seems silly. Okay. So just like see below. So clear that error message. Got it. Filed it away in the brain. Just
Wait,
you
where?
can click the X so that we can get back to the code.
Okay.
So that on model creating.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we gave default values for created that and updated that.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna do that here as well.
All right. Dang. All right. So let's just copy this.
Yeah.
And then we need it for B. What was the problem? Was it
is verified?
Is verified.
Which again, it's strange because it's just a bool.
It's just a bool, right?
And then
Is
its
verified.
default value won't be a datetime offset. It'll be false. Now the question I just thought of in the seed data, did you set is verified to true?
In the seed data?
Yeah.
In the seed data, I didn't touch it. It doesn't exist.
So let's set is verified to true in your seed data. Because we have logic on the website that'll only display verified data. So everything could be working, but nothing will appear on the website.
That's pretty.
Like, oh, we forgot to.
That's pretty accurate.
So 2 things, yeah. Comma instead of a semicolon.
Oh.
And Poem also has is verified.
Oof.
So yeah, just copy is verified equals true, just everywhere. Yeah, get that on the Ocean Vuong poems. Hand jamming.
And jamming. Oh Lord, what did I do?
We deleted a curly bracket.
Did we?
Yeah.
You're quick with that. All right, it's all true.
It's always easier when you're watching somebody else code.
Yeah. Except it's also difficult for me when I watch other people code. I'm like, oh, I don't know what they're doing either. So, all right, that should be good.
All right, so last time we ran it, we got an exception thrown because we didn't have a default value for our bool, which I don't understand.
C#. I thought you took care of that, but okay.
But we fixed that, and then we double checked to make sure everything is verified in our seed data. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what we get yelled at for.
Let's see what we
really
broke this time. Again, this is coding. All right, still got that breakpoint there. Continue. Thank you.
I'll just remove that breakpoint.
Save changes.
Another one.
Field is verified. Doesn't have a default value. Yes, it does.
What? I thought we. Oh man.
Where is it making that happen? Is it in the not in the constructor, but in the in a database page?
Well, we're not using. What? Why? Maybe just Google it. Field. So I'm just gonna Google Boolean field, and then that doesn't have a default value.
And it's a MySQL exception too, specifically.
It is MySQL. Good catch. So that might default value for required fields. How's that? What are we doing wrong? We're not using any attributes above is verified, right? Like on a couple properties in our models, we're saying like it's a primary key. Oh wait, I wonder if that's what's going on. So no, because oh wait, oh that's why, dude.
What?
You have an attribute above is verified. So
it should be the first thing.
So that database generated option dot computed. That should be above. That should be sitting on top of updated that because it's associated with updated.
Oh.
So.
And then this.
Let's do something else first. Because this is where another strong opinion of mine. I really don't like CodeLens for this exact reason. So go to in Visual Studio, Tools, Options, and then just search for CodeLens. And yeah, click on CodeLens there and just disable it. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a second. Boom. So see, now we can actually see your code. We lose all that like references stuff.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is put a new line in between every property so we can separate them out and actually read what's going on here. And then it becomes really apparent where these attributes
Okay.
are located. So yeah, that was the problem. We just had we were telling the database to compute this.
Yeah, and it's like, wait,
for
what?
is verified.
Yeah.
And the database is like, how do I do that? So let's go back to
all those times where we said we need to keep it in the constructor that we had created because these need to be verified.
Yep, those still need to be verified, but
But
don't
here-
need that one line of code on line 144.
Yeah. Nice.
That's just... Which all this makes more sense now.
So you were right. We were both right. Like, wait, it's a bool. We shouldn't, whatever. And so we were thinking about the wrong solution to the problem. We were like, well, we'll tell it, I guess. All right.
And let's double check the other model. Because where did we just fix that? We fixed that in Poem? Or did we fix that in... Okay, so those attributes look good.
yeah,
I would still do the spacing there.
Agreed. Okay.
But yeah, CodeLens, it puts that like references, like it gives you metadata above every line of code.
Yeah.
And I don't like it because in cases like this where attributes, they sit on top of a property. And so if you can't see what it's sitting on top of, then
Yeah.
there's a bit of a
that's
disconnect.
frustrating.
And like at a glance, we should have been able to see that earlier, but CodeLens.
But CodeLens. And let's hit
That being said, I
breakpoint
know a
again.
lot of people really like CodeLens, but
Yeah, it's a personal preference, but for my friend Brandon Minnick,
you
thinks it's
just
useless.
caused a bug in my code, CodeLens.
yeah, thanks a lot. Oh snap!
Boom!
Oh snap!
Celebrate!
It worked. And let's go to the
looks-
let's go to this. Let's update. All right, let's start again. Right, and we're looking at the authors, and yeah.
Look at that. That's right, Salty Panda.
You guys. And now we just need to learn how to do migration. That's wild. That's really cool. That worked.
Thanks, Wolfie. Wolfie says, great job.
Thanks, Wolfie.
We did it.
And like it's like the CSS picked it up too. Like this blows my mind, actually, to be totally honest. Like look at the index here, right? We've got a just a for each loop. Hold on. That's the there. We have a single for each loop. That's it. And this runs twice on here. For every poet that's there, it runs twice. No, but I'm not saying it right because I'm so excited. It automatically does it, and because we've got the class poets, it just boop, makes it official. It's perfect. It's perfect. This is perfect. We just need my production database to be correct now, which is what we need migration for.
So join
Which
us
is-
next week.
Next week. I like that we've been talking about getting this database working. We've said next week like 4 times now. Like, yeah, we'll have it perfect.
It's-
Come and see us again.
It's just so much easier to do it next week.
Listen, why do today what you can do next week?
Oh, man.
Like all I like you were saying earlier, all I have to do is keep hand jamming on this.
Yeah, you can finish up that seed data. Then you'll have to drop the database again
Yeah,
because it only seeds when
it
the
only
database
sees
is
when
empty.
it's empty.
But yeah, I think. Well, let's first commit this.
Let's commit this to the branch.
Yeah, because stuff is working, and it's always good to like we were saying last week. It's like our save location in a
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. All right. So here's our new favorite poem. This is the add author database table current branch. That's the branch we're on. Good.
Yep.
Um.
So yeah, let's walk through these commits or the changes for each file just to make
So let's
sure.
look at
Like,
poem constants. Yeah, that all got deleted
Okay,
and
yep.
it was replaced with this, and now this is all commented out, which we want to keep. That's good.
like that.
Base database, we added the save changes and the if statement here in database context, and
That's how we're seeding.
that's where we deleted and took away that. Took out the using constants. Are we gonna need to put that back in at some point? Probably.
Scroll down. I don't know if there was any code in here referencing that. Yeah, none of this code was. So that was probably. I bet if we hadn't changed the file name, then that code would have had like the red squiggle underneath it, or the smudge underneath it, to saying like you can remove this unused using statement.
And then this was adding space, also adding space and getting rid of the constructor.
Get rid of the constructor. Cool.
We still have the blank constructor, don't we?
We do, but we don't need it.
Let's just keep it.
Because C# will automatically add an empty constructor or a default constructor if you don't define it.
Because it's required. Look, you didn't make this, but I made it for you.
Oh, I forgot about this part.
Oh, the exception that we throw. Well, we're not pushing this to production yet anyway.
Ooh, let's do something real quick, because this exception gets thrown at runtime. So it's not until the user clicks the button. Actually, click the button right now. If you go to that insert poem page. Oh, it's not running anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I'll run it. Let's see what happens.
So yeah, if you go to add a new poem and then submit it, then the exception will be thrown. Oh, just get rid of that breakpoint.
Listen, I will eventually. So you said go to Burger Secrets, right? Okay. And what kind of burger do you want? Okay, hold on.
So...
Oh, that's funny that the breakpoint goes back here. Because it's reloading that database. All right. That'll need to be fixed.
That's a nice little bug. Noted. Yep. So yeah, if you just click the submit button here, oh, I expected it to like crash and burn. Oh, because it's inside of a try catch block. Okay. So we show the error, which is good. That means the user at least is aware that their poem didn't make it to the database.
Yeah.
But really, it's our fault. We just won't tell them that.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is go back to that line of code where we are throwing this exception, because there's another trick I do to help future Brandon not forget about this.
Yeah.
And that is to use a compiler error. So thanks, Wolfie. Wolfie says he loves.
That's right.
Thanks, Wolfie loves the error message. So right here. Oh, actually, let me. I don't think I've ever introduced these to you. So let's give a new line on line 27.
Okay.
And if you just say #error, and then put a space, and then we can give an error message like. So what's cool is try to build the code right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like just try to run the website. You can already see the red squiggles, so that should be... Oh, yeah, those compiler directives always lock. Like they're always left justified. I hate it, but... all right. So look, it said there's a build error, and do you see what the error is?
No.
In the...
Oh, down here.
Yeah. So
I wish it would show up here.
Yeah, I know, right? So this is a way we can force a compiler error.
Yeah.
And then we can couple this with the fact that we only push the website to production in the release configuration. Like right now we're in the debug configuration. Mm-hmm. So give me a new line above line 28 and say #if space, and then we'll say release in all caps. And then after the error message, we'll say #endIf. So that just closes this compiler error statement.
Wild.
So right now, you saw the red squiggle go away?
Yeah.
If you toggle from debug to release, we should see that red squiggle come back. So you see that debug drop down at the top? Almost. Yeah, switch that to release. And let's see if this comes back. And if it doesn't...
There it is.
Oh, there it is. Yes. So what happens now is we can stay in debug mode. And we can keep working on this locally. But what's really cool... So yeah, let's actually do that. Flip to debug. Let's say we forgot about this. We're now 2 weeks in the future. This website's ready. We can't wait because we figured out database migrations.
Yeah.
Oh, so terrified of database migration. So we're going to push this to Azure. So you're going to right click on your new favorite poem. You're going to say publish.
Yeah.
And there we go. So look at the metadata here. It says the configuration is release. So when you click the publish button, it's going to try and build your app in release mode.
Oh, yeah.
And go ahead and click it.
What are you doing to me?
It's just going to fail. Boom. And it's like, hey, your app failed.
It just doesn't do
it. Or it should have.
Brandon.
What?
Brandon.
There's no way we just broke your website.
That'd be amazing. Oh, we're good. The terror.
I know, right?
It was a great fear. Yeah, I think it just doesn't let it go. And I did see the error message pop up for a second.
Yeah, I saw it too. I'm curious about... do you have an output tab? I don't see any tabs under Visual Studio. Let's see. Go to View at the top of Visual Studio. And there should be one called Output. Yeah, literally just Output. Almost right above your mouse, yeah. There we go. So build, failed, publish, skipped.
Okay.
That's what we wanted. So
you big idiot. There it is.
So yeah, we future-proofed this. So we won't be able to publish this to production until we fix that. So, sorry. Let's go all the way back. Let's unravel this aside. Go back to GitHub desktop so we can finish committing the code
this.
now.
Okay, add poet.
But,
we did that.
Yeah, we were looking at this.
We're leaving it there.
And now, yep. So, save our future selves.
There's the index page where we deleted all that. Look at all that red. This is your favorite thing in the world, isn't it?
I love deleting code. Yeah. Because it's less code you have to maintain. It's the best feeling in the world.
Here's the C#. We got rid of link, threading, ASP.NET Core Components. All of that is apparently unnecessary now because this is what we're doing. Changed random next to authors from database. This is a lot of changing authors from database, from poem to authors from database. Added that extra random so that we could actually get the random poem. Yep. And then in startup, we added a singleton author database. All right. So this is, how do I?
I mean, we successfully completed the author's database. And I just realized I'm talking to myself. So I wonder if it's me.
All right. This? I hear you.
I see PJ again.
I can hear you.
We almost made it.
Single for each loop. Yeah, and that's the description. See above. Man, alive. That's wild. And see, now Wolfie sees that I disappeared as well.
It's okay, Wolfie. He comes
Well,
back.
I'll be back soon. Just wait. If I'm not back in 10 minutes, just wait longer. Right, to that.
Wait approximately 7 days, and we'll be back here on
we're pushing.
Sunday.
That's right. Wait 7 days. We're pushing to that branch. Push origin, right?
Yep, that'll actually send it up to GitHub.
Yeah, that makes me nervous. Obviously I'm not going to be merging to main yet, but I always get nervous that I'm accidentally going to merge to main. And then I need to go to GitHub.
Rightfully so.
I don't go create a version, not for branches, right?
Right. Yeah, we're not going to create a release yet because we haven't. Like, we've been tying the releases to every time we publish to Azure. So every time we publish an update, maybe it's a bug fix, maybe it's a new feature. But yeah, we're still working on this branch.
Yeah. I definitely feel like a real developer because there's a bunch of stuff I'm working on that is not shown.
Right. We just spent hours, and the website looks exactly the same.
Yeah, we have yet to. It'll be 3 weeks of the website looking exactly the same, no changes. But that's fine because after this, like changing the CSS and changing the way it actually looks and the way it interacts, it'd be really cool to have like, oh man, some sort of like where like there's like a single author visible at any time, and you can like swipe through, not swipe because like, but like scroll through and it shows a single author, like almost an iframe. Like we messed with a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Wow. I have no idea how to do that. But we can
that's
figure
what I figured. Yeah, that's something that we can figure out together.
We got Wolfie, we got Salty Panda, we got Rollers, Matt.
Tons of people.
Chloe joined us.
Today was a very good stream.
And they can always help us out because we have no idea what we're doing.
Since it's Sunday, now that I've streamed with you and worked with Chloe on Shania Bot, now I can finish and actually hang out with my wife on a day off from work.
It does sound nice.
I think you should do it too. You should hang out with my wife. Wait. Nope. Not that. Not that. Well, we did it. Join us next week where we break some stuff again and make it all look good after.